Welcome to the Horse Talk Show. Have you ever seen a horse who could talk? With your host, Louisa Barton, who really wants to be a famous rider. She really loves to ride fast. Presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care.
Truth is, I have horses with people problems.
Now here's the Brit on the bit, Louisa Barton. Enjoy the show.
Larson Farms is our TV broadcast sponsor. Mr. Richard Larson, a man of great integrity, cares about every single bale of hay and about taking care of his customers. He also has a huge heart for those genuinely in need. Larson Farms, Idaho's finest alfalfa. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Welcome to the Horse Talk Show. This segment is sponsored by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Our broadcast sponsor is Larson Hay,
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Dancing Pete Rodda, filling in for the great Louisa Barton, who's in England. And I have the Spark of Ocala with me, Pat Myers Electric. We have the one, the only, Pat Myers.
Thanks for having me, Pete.
You're welcome. So on today's show, we're going to have Dr. Cayot on beating the heat.
Thank goodness, it's hot.
It's really hot. We're going to have a walk and stop with Wildlife Works with Corinne and me. And then we're going to go to Linda Parelli. We have a segment with Louisa and I talking to Happy Horse, Happy Life.
All right.
And we're going to have evaluations with Mireille at MD-equine. And then the fourth segment of Clayton Fredericks, the 3-day eventer. And then we're going to do my tip, Ocala Dog Ranch tip, and a live Pat Myers tip.
Live tip today.
So that will do our show. So we're excited. So let's hit the news now.
Let's do it.
Epic Dog and Pony Show, August 23rd through the 25th at Epic Equine Performance Innovation Center. And most people are like,
yeah, what's that all about?
So they're going to have dock diving.
Okay.
So they're going to do a dog event.
Okay, that's the dogs.
The
Are
dogs.
the ponies going to do dock diving?
I don't think that.
Oh,
I think that's illegal.
Okay, all right, just be clear.
So then they're going to have a tour of Epic to show you their water treadmills, the different things and
all
treatments.
The great stuff they're doing.
So
Wonderful.
this will have vendors and places to get food. So this will be a really fun event. Now moving on to Equine Industrial Expo. November 22nd. This is going to be having lots of people from the industry come and do demos, from vets to farriers to horsemen. And then November 23rd, the third annual
Hobby Horse Games.
That's right. So it's going to, these are going to be at the Florida Horse Park. And at the Hobby Horse Games, we'll have show jumping, dressage, horse racing, a Pasofino class, roping, barrel racing, and of course the most exciting, polo.
And all from the safety of a hobby horse.
That's right. So
you don't have to be a pro, but you can learn about it.
On a stick horse. And we're going to have vendors there, food trucks, carriage rides. There's going to be a big parade, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And then Gentle Carousel Summer Reading Program.
Yeah, this is a great event. They're doing this every Thursday, I think with the exception of July 4th. They're doing helpers and heroes are coming out to help support them, and where the kids get to get a book and hear a story, and then the hero of that story comes out and they get to meet them.
Yep.
So it's a really great event.
So these horses are just amazing. This event, I went to the first one that you guys sponsored.
Yeah.
And it was out of this world to watch those kids go nuts over the main character coming out. So
yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. So we have a sad note right now that people need help from Lip Chip. They're working with connections on the ground to get food, water, and supplies to horsemen at Rudoso Downs for those that need to stay behind to care for the hundreds of horses on the backside. If you know of a business in Roswell or want to donate supplies, please contact us so we can coordinate pickup. Above all, please pray for the winds to calm down and safety for all those working these fires. Thank you to those who have made donations. So if you go to Lip Chip, they're taking donations so that they can get these people. So there's some really bad fires going on.
Hopefully as the fires die down.
Yes, sir.
Get under control.
Well, that brings us to Dr. Cayot beating the heat. So take it away, Dr. Cayot.
Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show and Equus Television at Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care with Dr. Adam Cayot. We love having Dr. Cayot on the show. He always fills us in on the latest information that we need on veterinary care. And being in Florida, not today, fortunately, but we are warming up and we're going to get into our very hot season soon. So I'm going to talk to Dr. Cayot about some recommendations for beating the heat for our horses while riding, and also perhaps even when they're turned out, things we can do to help them out. Dr. Cayot, congratulations on your wedding. That was absolutely wonderful. Beautiful photos.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. It's, it's a blessing that, we're together, and look forward to the future.
The family looked amazing.
Yeah,
lovely, lovely photos.
We're very happy. It's,
well done.
Good. It's nice.
She's got a lot to put up with.
That's right. Exactly.
Back to beat the heat.
Exactly. Beat the heat. So certainly the heat down in Florida can be an issue during the summertime. So the normal temperature of a horse is 98 to 101. So that's what the textbooks say. There's very few horses that actually have a 101 normal temperature. So 101 a lot of times we're considered high most of the time. So that's your normal resting temperature. Now, when horses are working, especially during the summer, and they like some of these eventing horses and things like that, and even horses that are pulling a carriage and things that are really taxing. When we stop them during their phase, during their cross-country phase, you'll get temperatures of 104, 105, those sorts of things. That can be actually normal. And you just have to give those horses a little bit of time to cool down, and then you can send them on their way for the rest of the course. So they can deal with a very high fever, and I've seen horses that are sick that'll carry a 104, 105, even sometimes after vaccines. Sometimes they'll actually spike a fever that high. Where it gets really scary is basically higher than 105. Because horses can have heat stroke, and certainly you have to be aware of that, especially for your non-sweaters. And in the summer, I've unfortunately over my practice, I've had several horses succumb to heat stroke. So certainly being aware of the physiology of your horse, pay attention to them when they're out in the summer heat, and certainly when you're riding, because just because they've always sweat before doesn't mean that won't come up, and obviously sweat helps regulate that temperature. So being a non-sweater can pop up just like that, and when you're riding, make sure you pay attention to that. And certainly even it gets warm enough down here in the summer that even horses standing out in the field will get overheated simply because they aren't sweating and they need to sweat. So you need to pay attention to that, but things that you can do to keep them comfortable or keep them at the right temperature. A lot of times down here people will leave misters out, and the horses can get under misters. Make sure obviously they have access to plenty of water. Even if they have a pond or something to go stand in, they'll do that. A shaded area, a big tree, any of those things will help. So that's the best thing that you can do, is just be aware of where you're keeping your horses, be aware of what they look like when they're out there, be aware of, are they sweating like they normally do when they're being ridden, and just make sure they have a place to cool off.
One of the things that actually made me think about on the way here even today is the fact that we're having a kind of a nice cool day today, and what tends to happen at this time of year in this area of Florida, actually in all of Florida, is we have some days where the temperature comes down quite a bit like this and it's nice, and then tomorrow we might have like high 80s, low 90s again, and it be very humid. So those rapid changes are something that people need to be aware of.
Yeah, that can be, that can be difficult, and that's the most difficult thing for the horse, is these big temperature swings. Certainly a lot of times when it goes from warm to cold, they don't drink as much, and then that can lead to other problems like colic and that sort of thing. So certainly the wide swinging temperature variations are difficult for them, but just, as always, as I always say, just pay attention to your horse. You know your horse better than anyone, and just look at them and see how they're doing, and that's going to keep you out of a lot of trouble.
Lastly, what would be the major signs that you need to call the vet with a potential heat stroke? What are you looking for? Obviously, drastic change in what you're used to seeing with the horse.
Right. So when you're reaching that point, a lot of times those horses will be down. They'll have a very rapid respiratory rate, so they'll typically be breathing very fast. And then obviously every horse owner should have a thermometer, and just use a rectal thermometer on the horse and take their temperature and see where it is. And obviously if they aren't sweating and their temperature's above 102, 105, and they're not doing anything, that's obviously concerning. So at that point you should call your veterinarian and try to cool them off as best you can. Put water on them. Best places to put water are between their hind legs, over their poll, in their axillary region, kind of where the girth would be. All those places help cool them down. Underneath the tail, those will help do that. Alcohol baths are good too, so you put a little alcohol, just rubbing alcohol in water, and you can put that over them, and that helps evaporate quickly, and that's what gives them some relief. Certainly ice, if you have that to cool them down. All those places are something you can do until the veterinarian gets there.
Wonderful. Thank you. Dr. Adam Cayot, Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. I'm Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show. This portion of the Horse Talk Show is brought to you by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Our television broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and supporting sponsors, DAC Minerals and Vitamins, Seminole Feed Stores, Lip Chip, Piranha, Pat Myers Electric, Florida HVAC Services, and Ocala Dog Ranch. This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. All horses need a solid immune system, excellent joint support, a healthy gut, and DAC has all the vitamins and minerals they need with the NASC stamp of approval. So like them on Facebook now or go to feeddac.com. DAC, it makes a world of difference.
Equestrian. It's not just a word but a title. It comes paired with hard work, discipline, and talent. LipChip is a company built by equestrians to make life at the barn a little easier. Introducing the Hooflink system, powered by LipChip, where a microchip becomes a secure key to unlock temperature, register for your next event, and keep track of required documents. Simply implant, scan, and unlock. Equestrians, the future is here, and the future is LipChip.
The team of professionals at Equifence of Florida specialize in equestrian fencing, offering great communication, quality fencing, and all done in a timely manner. Reliable service with horse safety in mind all the time. Also offering customized residential, vinyl, wood, aluminium, and chain link fences services. Equifence of Florida, quality fencing done right to keep your animals safe. For more information, find Equifence of Florida on Facebook now. broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
And we're back to the Horse Talk Show. This segment's brought to you by Peterson and Smith, Equine Hospital and Complete Care. And thanks again to our broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Dancing Pete, filling in for Louisa Barton as her host. And Spark of Ocala, Pat Myers Electric, Pat Myers himself, helping us out. So we're going to do something Pat and I developed, which is walk and stop. It's a professional's thing that isn't directly related to the horses, but like an electrician, a fencing, and somebody that gets rid of your rodents and unwanted critters like Corinne does with Wildlife Works. So here comes our third segment from Walk and Stop and Corinne. Back here with Walk and Stop with Corinne and Wildlife Works. We just found something that Corinne's going to talk about. Corinne, what is this?
This is going to be your gopher tortoise hole. So in contrast to what a armadillo hole will look like, and I'm just moving this grass so I can show you the shape. An armadillo hole is going to be more round, very circular, and a tortoise is going to be more of a half moon. You can see it's kind of a like a half circle shape. They're also going to be wider because they've got that wide shell. So they may share holes on occasion, but right here, this is going to be your tortoise hole. That's a tortoise burrow.
So how deep does that tortoise
They go pretty deep. Depending on the type of the year as well and how old they are, they're going to be at least 4 feet underground. They need to stay nice and warm. So during the cold months right now, he's going to be deeper. He's going to make sure that he's staying nice and warm. And then he may or may not come out during the day. It just depends on the temperature.
So tell us, how do you remove these? Because I've heard that you can get in trouble touching them. If you are caught having them, it's a big fine. And so tell us, what if you find one of these and you've got to get rid of them, or you need to educate, what should you do? Yep.
So usually when we get a tortoise call, my first question is, are you actively going through construction or planning to go through construction on your property? If the answer is no, then unfortunately the state doesn't allow you to do anything with the gopher tortoises. They are protected. But what you can do to mitigate conflict and to help protect your assets and your horses is to actually build around it. We usually try to suggest to build fencing. You can build any sort of, what did you call it? A tortoise condo? I've never heard
tortoise
that. Tortoise
condo.
That. Yeah, I'm going to steal that.
Okay, that's fine.
Or just anything
I'll take a
around.
percentage every time you say it.
Yeah, sure. But anything around the hole that can help protect the tortoise, but also anything that might step into it.
Oh, so we got to protect our horses from the tortoise because he's endangered.
Right. Yep. You're not going to be allowed to actually remove that tortoise. And you can't fill the hole either. So leaving the tortoises here and then just protecting everything around it is going to be your best bet.
Okay. Well, I actually have what I call a tortoise condo. If you want to go look at it.
Absolutely, let's take a look.
All right, let's go walk. So as we were walking back, I came back here to stop because Corinne just mentioned something about this hole that might not be a tortoise. Corinne, what did you say?
Something I noticed when I bent down is it has a really strong musky smell, almost like a skunk. And other wildlife does utilize the burrows of tortoises and armadillos. So it could be that a skunk is actually in this burrow right now. It might also be a fox. Foxes have a very musky smell. Just something to think about, that it may not be a gopher tortoise. It might not be an armadillo that's actually utilizing the burrow on your property.
So using all our senses when we're walking around is important.
Very much so. Yep.
Very good. So thank goodness we were walking away. We came back and stopped again. So now we're going to be a walk and stop and come back and stop again. So thanks, Corinne. Let's go walk.
All right.
All right. So we stopped here and I said, what about these covers for the water lines and shutoffs? And Corinne said, oh, like a snake, while I was opening it. So Corinne's going to now open it instead of me.
I'll open it. So often I get questions about whether or not we will find a snake in one of these covered shutoffs. It's definitely possible. It's something to consider. So just to be cautious when you are opening and closing. Rodents, sometimes if this has an entry close to a home, sometimes they'll burrow around here too. So it's just something to check and to look at.
So if you had a snake in there, who do I call?
Oh, you call Wildlife Works, most definitely. And if you don't know the species ID, Don't try to guess. Just give us a shout and we'll come out and we'll help you out.
I actually had a friend of mine that does a lot of similar things that you do with snakes, and he says, he put up a picture and he says most professionals couldn't tell the difference of certain snakes.
Yep.
That's the scary part.
It's very true.
So what would you recommend if you find a snake? Don't touch it,
Don't
right?
touch it. Yep. Just wait for someone who is a professional or does know what they're doing to come and help out.
Good. All right, let's go walk some more. So as we were walking, we were talking, and Corinne talked about the birds. So tell us a little bit more about what you can prevent with the birds.
Sure. So spring is coming, and that's going to be, as most of us know, nesting time for a lot of birds. And what they like to do, I'm sure some of us have seen, is go up in the rafters of barns or any open structure and create their nest there. What we can actually do is come in and provide a service where we install a netting that doesn't allow the birds to actually get up in there. So it's more of a deterrent, and it works really well. So it's keeping them from getting up into that area.
So would you recommend putting out boxes for them to nest where you want them?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. That's a great way to kind of offset that problem. Another thing that we can add, if you have pigeons or starlings, which are those blackbirds that like to land on the edges of any of your structures, we have what are called bird spikes. They do not hurt the bird, they are just a deterrent, and we can install those along the edges so that they aren't going to be inclined to be roosting there.
Very good. All right, we're gonna keep walking. Okay, so we found a burrow here.
Yep.
Now Corinne's gonna talk about it.
So this is another burrow. You can tell this one isn't as active because it does have some overgrowth on it, but something's been trying to check it out. And you can see 2 footprints here. I don't see a tail drag, and I don't think whatever was coming to check this out went all the way in. It might have just been looking, but this is something where it's actively, you can see it's that half moon, so it's gonna be a gopher tortoise. But Pete here mentioned that he'd seen armadillos, so it's very common that they share those burrows and that they go in and out and move around.
And what's the benefit of having these holes for the wildlife? Because, you know, Steve Irwin was one of my heroes. And
absolutely.
He always talked about everything is there for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So what are these for the other wildlife, other than a place to hide out for an armadillo?
Yeah, and it's a great shelter for all sorts of wildlife. So not only your tortoises and your armadillos, but as we mentioned at that other hole, there was something else living in there. Either could have been a skunk or a fox. You often see snakes utilizing these burrows as well, which I know we don't necessarily like snakes maybe in front of us, but they are really great for the ecosystem, and especially if you have a barn with a lot of rodents. They are going to keep that population a little more managed. So keeping these holes here is beneficial to other wildlife.
And I've even heard that bees or different insects live down in there during the winter.
Sure.
To survive or lay their eggs so that they come out.
Yeah, absolutely. So. It's pretty much a condo for any
if you're into bugs in Florida.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go get back over the fence and walk along. So Corinne and I were talking about insects, and Corinne says, I know nothing about insects except for bees. So she calls who when you have a question?
Anytime we have anything pest related, we go straight to A&J Pest Control. We work really closely with them. They're a great family company that services all of Marion County and the surrounding areas, and a wealth of knowledge. So that's always my go-to.
So you have people that think it's a rodent issue and it ends up being wasps or bees, or?
We've had one where we thought it was a rodent, or they thought it was a rodent issue, and we came in, it was actually termites, and they'd had a major termite issue up into their mobile home. So my first call in those situations is I've got them basically on speed dials, A&J Pest Control. I send them pictures and videos, and they help us out pretty quickly.
So it's the same thing with me. If somebody calls me for they're having trouble with their horse, I can help with that. But if it's a jumping, like a professional that I don't do dressage to an extent, you know, that's not my specialty. Right. I call the person that I know and get them on board so that they can get the help they really need. I can help them with behavior, but I can't help them with how to do flying changes or stuff like that, or tempi changes in a dressage, or how to jump this high jump better. So
yeah, absolutely.
Good. So you also, being a professional, you know your limitations.
Absolutely. Yep, I know my field. I'm not gonna try and make up something about someone else's specialty.
Good. All right, we want to thank Corinne for her time and expertise, and we'll see you next time on the next part.
This portion of the Horse Talk Show is brought to you by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care, our television broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and supporting sponsors DAC Minerals and Vitamins, Seminole Feed Stores, Lip Chip, Piranha, Pat Myers Electric, Florida HVAC Services, and Ocala Dog Ranch.
Faulty wiring is the leading cause of barn fires. I'm Pat with Pat Myers Electric. Equine facilities have special electrical needs. The knowledgeable and licensed team of electricians at Pat Myers Electric will ensure that you can achieve your vision for a beautiful, safe, and functional horse facility. From new construction to rewiring and updating, the Pat Myers Electric team is ready to jump in and help keep your horses safe. With a small farm of our own, we truly understand the unique concerns of the horse owner. Don't take chances. For all your current barn needs, go to patmyerselectric.com.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores, family owned since 1934. Manufacturing fixed formula horse feeds with mindful monitoring and quality ingredients right here in Ocala in an all-natural, non-medicated feed mill. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed. Like them on Facebook now or find them at SeminoleFeed.com.
Horses. Piranha! Oh no! Oh, the humanity! Oh, piranha.
Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care seeks to be a leading international veterinary practice that provides state-of-the-art veterinary care to their patients while fostering professional relationships with their clients that stand the test of time. For 24/7 and the best in equine care, check out Peterson and Smith at petersonsmith.com or like them on Facebook now for more information. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hey, this is Buck Brannaman. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show. This segment is brought to you by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to our broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay,
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Dancing Pete, filling in for Louisa, and I have the Spark of Ocala, Pat Myers himself from Pat Myers Electric, and we are about to introduce the first segment of Linda Parelli from Happy Horse, Happy Life. So this will be a fun that Louisa and I went out there and talked to at her place.
Nice.
Here we go.
Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show and the Equus Television Network, and we are at Happy Horse Haven, which seems very appropriate and a perfect spot to talk to none other than Linda Parelli. Dancing Pete Rodda is here with us also, and we're just going to have a candid little chat about what's going on in Linda's life and this beautiful property that she's on, and what's up next. So lovely to see you again.
It's great to see you. It's been
Way
too long.
That's what I said, and I actually couldn't believe you said you'd been here 3 years, because I don't feel like it's been that long.
I know. Time flies.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
And we're having fun.
Yes. Which is always.
Always.
That's the rule.
That's right. So catch us up a little bit on, you found this beautiful farm, just gorgeous.
Yes. Well, I looked at a lot of places, and of course when I drove into this one, I just went, I can see me here. And it's just got a lovely vibe about it, and the house is nice, and I have an 8-stall barn, but my horses mainly live out, which hopefully you can see behind us. Mm-hmm. It's their little haven, and I've got a very nice arena, which is probably the #1 reason I bought the place. And then mainly I have resident students here with their horses, and so they're long-term students of all levels, but mostly pretty high level in my program. And then I take students for 1 week, 1 month, however long they want. So it's quite small compared to what I used to do, which used to be throngs of people. Mm-hmm. Now I'm really enjoying my lifestyle and having more time with people is really fun.
I think that's lovely, much more personal,
Yeah.
one-on-one. And,
Yeah.
Pete and I talk a lot about this. You need a lot of time.
Yeah, it takes time. People don't think about that. I consider horsemanship like a martial art. People kind of sit around and go, and eating popcorn, and then they go, I think I'll go trail riding. It's like, you got to train for stuff like that, You've got to, just let the dog down. You've, horses get spooky, or they get out of control, or they tune in with other horses, and, suddenly our nice trail ride's a nightmare. But,
That's true.
So there are no shortcuts.
No, I don't think there are, not to do it well, and certainly not from the horse's perspective. How can you make a relationship quick? Because, what I do is relationship based, and you can't just go, all right, stand still, let me get on and go for a trail ride. There has to be, dinner and dancing.
All the important parts of dating.
That's right. That's right.
So tell us a little bit about Happy Horse, Happy Life. Tell us a little bit about the program and kind of the first steps and what's most important. We talked a little bit about time being the most important, obviously, and it does take time.
Well, obviously my background was with Pat for 30 years, and I helped him to develop his program. And so when we split, I was thinking about, what would I do? Because I already co-created something that was pretty darn good. And then as I was teaching, I saw all the pieces that were missing, that people were missing. And mainly it had to do with horse behavior. And so when we talk about a happy horse, if I say, how do you know if your horse is happy? People are like, I don't know. And so I created a program that teaches you how to have a happy horse. And I put all the pieces in there. It took me a while. In fact, I only just finished. It took me 3 years. But starting from the beginning, you start with connection, relaxation, responsiveness, confidence, impulsion, bending, harmony, agility, purpose, and power.
I'm going to watch this again just so I can write
There'll be a test. There'll be a test later. So the first 6 are all the ingredients of getting harmony, which is number 7. And once you've got harmony, then you carry that into whatever your sport is, or however, what kind of performance you want to do, from bridleless riding to dressage to jumping to whatever it is, that you can learn how to do that with a happy horse.
That makes so much sense. You can
That's
carry
what I
all
do.
those things on in your regular life aside from your horse too.
Well, that's true too. Some people have said, does this work for people? It's like, but that's another seminar. Won't go there quite yet.
So if you were trying to be in a competition, or you had a competition person come to you, what would be the first thing that you would want them to accomplish before getting into the arena to show? And
before getting into the arena, or
to show?
Before anything. I
anything.
go like right from the beginning, the number one thing is connection. And so most people want connection or think they have connection with their horse, but when you test it, they don't. And one of the tests is at a competition, right?
Yes,
so
ma'am.
it's like, my horse is never like this at home. And if you interview the horse says, my human's never like this at home. So they've changed, they haven't prepared the horse properly. And, I've helped a lot of people, not with their sport, because they can do that, but when they have behavioral problems, it's like, why do you have it? It's because you don't have connection, you don't know how to relax your horse is not responding to you, he's reacting, he's not confident in that surrounding, and the rest is history.
That is so true. See that? So Aaron Vale is actually like a prime example of somebody who does a lot of horsemanship with his horses, and you notice the difference when he's competing over some other riders, where his horses handle something crazy that happens unexpectedly. And if you're a horse person who's familiar with horse behavior, you actually can see the difference between him and maybe the next rider that goes in who's maybe
managing chaos.
Yes, exactly. Maybe it's a super technical course, and you see this next horse go in, ooh, whoa, I don't know what to do. But I've noticed like Aaron Vale's horses always seem to get through it and manage really well with it. And I think that's because of that. Like you said, Aaron knows his sport. He's one of the finest show jumpers in the world. The having that horsemanship there at the farm going on is helping to make him be as successful as he is.
Then you're well prepared. And a lot of people can have connection with one horse, with their one special horse, but not necessarily with their other horses. And so how do you get that with every horse? Because you need that.
That
you
is
know?
such a good question. How do you have that with every horse? Because you're right. A lot of people have, especially people, I'm not going to say people who compete don't have this, but I think we see more people who have kind of pasture pets and trail horses have that heart horse that when I had that heart horse for 29 years, when they got on, everything just went together like perfectly. But then when you go on to a new horse, which I have now, you've got to
start again.
Yes, because you can't get 29 years with a horse you've had for just a couple. So it takes, and Pete will say, you know, he's helped me with a couple of things with my Mustang because they're things that he didn't necessarily do in the beginning, but he's testing a little bit. And so I have to remember now I have a really young horse, not a really old horse. You know, I've gone from having a 35-year-old to having, well, he was a yearling and now he's, you know, just a few years old. So you have to kind of,
you've got to be a teacher, a mentor, a friend, a trainer, a protector, all of these things.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm experiencing that start again thing. And it's, you know, sometimes I question myself. I go, oh, it's been a long time since I've done any of this, you know, and getting that, wanting to have that connection.
Yes.
And rebuilding.
And, you know, a lot of people are in that situation. You know, as professionals, we're always starting with horses, right? How do you start with this horse and where do you take it? And so we have kind of a, for want of a better word, a routine or a system that, you know, a pathway that we take horses down. And it depends on the different horses, you know, how quickly or slowly you go and what little roadblocks come along the way. But most people have that one horse. So they don't have the experience of like, oh, now what would I do with the next one? And then what would I do with the next one? Especially if they're different.
Yeah.
Like different horsenalities. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, the other horse was so easy and a little bit lazy and stubborn, and this one's crazy. You know, it's like, what do I do? You got to treat it a lot differently.
Yeah.
So do you feel that humans that are good connectors make horsemen that are good connectors?
I think so. Because people who don't care about connection are pretty cold, matter of fact, and it's like, I'm just going to get the job done, or, you know. But I think people who are more relationship oriented, I mean, obviously they carry that over to the horse because they want the horse to like them and they want the horse to be happy instead of just going, do the job next.
Larson Farms is our TV broadcast sponsor. Mr. Richard Larson, a man of great integrity, cares about every single bale of hay and about taking care of his customers. He also has a huge heart for those genuinely in need. Larson Farms, Idaho's finest alfalfa.
Equestrian. It's not just a word but a title. It comes paired with hard work, discipline, and talent. LipChip is a company built by equestrians to make life at the barn a little easier. Introducing the Hoofling system, powered by LipChip, where a microchip becomes a secure key to unlock temperature, register for your next event, and keep track of required documents. Simply implant, scan, and unlock. Equestrians, the future is here, and the future is LipChip.
This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. All horses need a solid immune system, excellent joint support, a healthy gut, and DAC has all the vitamins and minerals they need with the NASC stamp of approval. So like them on Facebook now or go to feeddac.com. DAC, it makes a world of difference.
This hour of the Horse Talk Show is presented by Palm Chevrolet in Ocala, where the entire team is committed to making your experience in sales and service hassle-free and easier than ever with no games or gimmicks. Come in and visit on Southwest College Road or online at palmchevrolet.com. A second-to-none experience with all the amenities. Palm Chevy, find new roads.
The Equine Performance and Innovative Centre, situated on 30 pristine acres in the horse capital of the world, is one of the finest and most complete conditioning and rehab centres for equines and canines in the nation, including an equine hyperbaric chamber, aqua pacer, water treadmill, cold water leg spa, equine swimming pool, Eurosizer, and more. Epic equine veterinarians specialising in rehab and conditioning. For more information, go to epcrehab.com or find them on social media.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show. Have you ever heard of a horse that can talk? Listen to this. With your host, Louisa Barton. She's literally in love with every horse. Presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. She's back in the saddle again. And now here's your host,
Pretty.
Louisa Barton. She's a Brit, she's got the gift of the gab, and her guests are fab.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show. This segment's brought to you by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thanks again to our broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay.
Idaho's finest alfalfa, of course.
I'm here, Dancing Pete, filling in for Louisa Barton. She's in England, and I'm here with the spark of Ocala, Pat Myers himself from Pat Myers Electric. And we are getting ready to do evaluations with Mireille with MD-equine.
Evaluation?
Yeah, we're going to evaluate the horse to see, I guess, what they need or what's going on. But I guess that's why we're going to watch the segment and find out.
Sounds good to me. Let's learn.
All right, let's go.
Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show and the CEP's Equine Initiative, talking to one of our CEP partners, Mireille from MD-equine Therapy. Mireille, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Louisa. I'm really excited. Shall I say a little bit about what I do?
That would be perfect.
How we help horses?
Yes.
So I'm an equine sports massage therapist and also an FEI therapist, and I use multiple of modalities to help horses, recover, feel better after injury or just doing performance, but also recreational horses. And I would love to talk a little bit more about how I work.
Now you're mobile and you go to farms and venues and different equine centres where you take care of horses and help them feel better, whether it be, as you mentioned, a pasture pony who needs some help, everything to a sport horse who maybe is competing at the highest level. Tell us a little bit about when you first arrived there with a horse, and we also want to impress upon our viewers that we are not talking veterinarian here, we are talking therapist, and we want to make that clear. But we do want to talk a little bit about what you do first when you first see a horse. I've watched you move around the horse, look at the horse, and kind of even sort of weigh up personality and behavioral stuff as well, which was interesting to watch you kind of get in tune with the horse. Very impressive. Share with us a little bit about what you do to start with.
Yeah, when we arrive on location, the first thing we do is get all the information from the owner about themselves, but also about the horse, if there's anything specific about the horse. So people have me come out for specific reasons. Sometimes it's just to make their horse feel good, or sometimes they see their horse is uncomfortable. And
so there's the paperwork to fill out.
Yeah,
yes.
Always paperwork and disclaimers, because it's really to promote wellness and well-being in the horse. So we're not diagnosing, we're not treating or curing. So it's really for overall well-being. And after that, if there are any papers from veterinarians, maybe x-rays or ultrasounds, if there's an injury involved. And then we have those stories. We have the story of the owner, what they think is not wrong or what's going on with their horse. Then we have, maybe vet work, or and then I go really to the horse. What story is the horse telling? So what,
I saw that. Yes.
Yeah. What do I feel? So the first thing is a manual evaluation with my hands going through over the whole body. And then we have them, or I have them walk and trot.
So you can see the horse in motion?
Yeah, you can see the horse in motion, and often there is where you see where there are areas of discomfort, or maybe less flexibility, or where something might be tight or not well. And then you also observe the horse's overall expression. because horses, because they don't talk in language like we do.
Very difficult, isn't it? It's not like where does it hurt and they point or show you. So
well, you can feel it with your hands through the tissue, and we can show that also. You know, when we push somewhere, they might show us like, hey, that doesn't feel so good. But you can tell by a horse's expression also how they're feeling that day, you know, if they're happy or if they're uncomfortable. And so that takes up quite a bit of time. And that's always the first. So the first session is always the longest because we go through that whole history. You know, what has happened to this horse in the past?
Very important part.
Yeah, what's the story? Because they can hold on to a lot of trauma and a lot of history. And sometimes it hasn't been resolved, so we need to kind of, it's like an onion, you kind of peel all the different layers.
That's very good, actually. Yes. So as you're evaluating and feeling the horse manually, you are kind of getting an idea of what that treatment plan will be as far as therapies go.
Yeah. So the first session I always do hands-on, mostly hands-on modalities, because the tissue and the horse will kind of tell you where, like I said, that onion will kind of tell you what's the matter. And then upon that, like people, horses also have preferences. So some horses like deeper work, so deep tissue work. Other horses like more subtle work, like craniosacral or maybe myofascial release. And then if there's really an area that has an injury or is really tight, we might use another modality like a TENS unit or PEMF or a laser to kind of enhance the manual work.
So you're going to come up with a recommendation plan from looking at the horse, touching the horse, working with the owner, and then also finding out the history of the horse, because as you said, they can hold on to, you know, perhaps even have a mental issue associated with a past pain, that maybe the injury is healed, but the horse is still, you know, connected with that where it did hurt. So you're trying to find out a little bit of what has happened, as much, of course, as that particular owner can share with you. And then, of course, what the horse does for a living is going to play a lot into, maybe it's a trail horse and maybe it's jumping. So then you're also going to kind of design that program and plan for that horse based on expectations from the owner. Are you trying to get this horse comfortable for a trail ride, or are you trying to get over a 4 or 5 foot jump? So it's obviously going to play
and everybody
a factor.
gets a different treatment plan. And then we work as we go. We work and we can adjust it. We can do more or less, change modalities. So the feedback from the rider or the owner is always very important. So how is your horse progressing? Right, and I can feel that when I come back, but also it's important that the rider says, like, you know, oh, my horse was amazing yesterday, you know, and what we're doing really works. So, yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
Anything else you'd like to add to that evaluation that we should know? So you're getting your paperwork and records together. Anything you have from the veterinarian will obviously help you with figuring these things out. Lots of questions for the owner. Then you're looking at the horse as far as behavior, mood, and all of those things, so you can kind of see where the horse is at. Then you're going to do your manual feel of the anatomy to see what you feel and how the horse reacts with that. And from all of that, plus what the horse does in his daily routine, you're going to take that and design something just perfect for that horse.
Yeah. That's it.
That's a nutshell.
That's it. She did it awesome. She's got it. Louisa.
I paid attention.
She's got it. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So.
And then you're mobile, of course, so you're going.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like you say, we treat horses from any discipline, any age, backyard lawn ornaments to high-end performing horses.
That's wonderful.
Here locally, and I'm based in Ocala, but I do also travel a little bit around in Florida.
Fantastic.
So
thank you, Mireille.
You're welcome.
Mireille from MD-equine Therapy, and we've just been chatting a little bit about that initial evaluation of the horse to find out the best plan moving forward. Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show and the CEP's Equine Initiative. Thank you to the presenting sponsor of this portion of the Horse Talk Show, Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to our TV broadcast sponsor, Larson Farms, Idaho's finest alfalfa. Also, thank you to supporting sponsors, Nirvana Medical Spa, TT Distributors, Summit Joint Performance, Equigreen, Midnight Rose Equestrian, the Florida Horse Park, Horse Farms Forever, and the Equine Performance and Innovative Center. The team of professionals at Equifence of Florida specialize in equestrian fencing, offering great communication, quality fencing, and all done in a timely manner. Reliable service with horse safety in mind all the time. Also offering customized residential, vinyl, wood, aluminium, and chain link fences services. Equifence of Florida, quality fencing done right to keep your animals safe. For more information, find Equifence of Florida on Facebook now.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores, family owned since 1934. Manufacturing fixed formula horse feeds with mindful monitoring and quality ingredients right here in Ocala in an all-natural, non-medicated feed mill. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed. Like them on Facebook now or find them at SeminoleFeed.com.
Horses. Piranha! Oh no! Oh, the humanity! Oh, piranha.
My name is Dr. Natalie Solomon. I formulated Equigreen with cutting-edge science and technology alongside the passion that is represented by a lifelong love of horses. I created a product that I would trust for my horses because they deserve nothing but the best for their bodies. Horses rely on us to take care of them, to love them, to respect them. This is how Equigreen came to life. Equigreen, CBD for your horse that you can trust.
Does your farm need a facelift? Has the harsh Florida climate left your barns, stable doors, and fences stained? J&S Pressure Washing has a professional team who can exceed your expectations and restore your farm to its former glory. Get rid of dust and cobwebs that can cause allergies and health issues for horses, and keep your horses safe by limiting fire hazards in the barn. J&S Pressure Washing can clean your house, your barns, your fences, and your driveway, and you can count on dependable and professional services. For more information, call Stephen at 352-502-5355.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
This is Charlotte Cannon, and you are listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show. This segment's brought to you by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thanks again to our broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
Dance and Pete here with Spark of Ocala, Pat Myers from Pat Myers Electric, filling in for Louisa Barton, who's in England. And we're going to move into three-day eventer Clayton Fredericks and his fourth segment with Louisa.
Louisa Barton here for the CEP's Equine Initiative, the Horse Talk Show and Equus Television. I am here with Olympic medalist Clayton Fredericks at his beautiful facility in the horse capital. I also have Angie Crawford from Seminole Feed Stores here. We've talked a little bit about the sport of eventing, the importance of a really good feed program to keep the horses healthy and in their best form to win. And the ingredients of a winner is very important. So we're going to kind of turn it up a little bit and talk about temporary stalls done right by Fredericks Equestrian International. Clayton, tell us a little bit about the barns and the round pens. I can tell you we love them.
Yeah.
For our events, they're perfect.
So FEI Stabling is a company that I set up pretty well as a jerk reaction to being in such bad temporary stabling at the events that I was going to. And I kept sort of complaining about them and sort of, to myself, but
to yourself.
Yeah, because no one wants to hear you complain. But I mean, I just thought there was such a better alternative that we were using in the UK in the form of these LH Woodhouse stalls. They've been manufacturing them, and anyway. So I sort of reached out to LH Woodhouse and said to them, you know, I think there's a calling here for your stalls. Would you be interested? And I needed an extra barn myself, so I actually bought 10 stalls, and the 10 stalls came from the stock that was made for the London Olympics, actually.
Oh my.
Yeah, and so they were still in fantastic condition, you know, years afterwards. And so I bought them, I used them, I sort of went all over them, and then I got, the whole time we were chatting with them, and you know, I sort of said, well, why don't we go together in the business, because I didn't really have the funding to do it. And so I got one other investor, and LH Woodhouse, the manufacturer themselves, came in and we set up FEI stabling and imported 240 of the barns, and now we've got like well over 600 both here, and we've got some even out as far as California, and yeah, the product speaks for itself. We use that high density HDPE, you know, the plastic that's in like a board, together with galvanized steel, aluminum, and the tent structures we use a Cayot tracking. So it's all top equipment, top materials that we used, and we have them in the barn style mainly. And they're big stalls, 10 by 14 feet now for you, so or 3 meters, 3 meters by 4 meters for those who speak in metric. But yeah, they work really well. They're great in the heat. We've got a good way of staking them down where you don't have wires or anything. They're just, you hardly even see that, especially with the big winds and everything that we can get all across America. So the staking system's really good, and the horses are comfortable in them. They love them. So yeah, it's really taken off, and it's going good.
So when we have the CEP events downtown and at the Florida Horse Park, and we've had your team come in and put the temporary stall, you very kindly and generously sponsored those events and helped us to make it possible to introduce people to a variety of different breeds. We actually have some of the top people bring their horses who show and win, that bring them downtown to introduce the general public to a variety of different breeds. And every single owner of a horse that we have had have said, wow, this is not like what we see at shows that we go to, you know, and wow, what are these? You know, these are fantastic, spacious and well designed, and they all comment on that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been going really well. People like it. I mean, originally I had it in my mind that we were just going to supply horse shows, events, but actually the great part about these, they're modular, so any multiple of 2 stalls. And what we've found is, you know, there's such an influx in winter down to Ocala that people are needing like 10 extra stalls or 20 extra stalls or whatever, or someone's bought a property, hasn't built their barn yet, so they need to have some stalls in the meantime. So we're renting them to, you know, various small farms all the way around here, Wellington, Aiken, all over
and
the
filled
country.
a gap that you really didn't anticipate.
Filling a gap that we didn't anticipate. It just sort of came up. So yeah, it's been really good, and yeah.
They're larger than standard show stalls.
Well, I mean, people like a 12 by 12 stall, but you know, the way these work, they end up being a longer stall, not as wide, 10 foot wide, but they're a deeper stall, and the horses actually like that. So it's the same footprint, same area really as a 12 by 12, but in fact a bit more. But yeah, it's the openness and the length of the stall really, you know, the horses relax in them.
We've had
and we had that's what I was going to say. We've had the Clydesdales in them. We've had Budweiser Clydesdales in them down at the horse park, and they normally trip around with their own big stall.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's been
They're noticeably better design, more comfortable, larger.
The walls are kick-proof, so you know you're not got gaps in them.
And remarkable the speed that your team can put them together.
Well,
it's miraculous.
Yeah, they're well practiced now. But we've done a few other things. We've got an amazing electrical system, so that it's all GFI'd and power safe, so that you know just one outlet. The pole barn's pretty well plug and play. You got power down to each stall, lights through the roof. There's even extra outlets for fans and etc. So that's something unique to the American company. But also, you know, we're very big on sanitizing the stalls each time they go out. You know, you're not getting these stalls coming with horse manure all up the sides. And people want that extra service. You know, if you're going to put your good horse in there, you don't and in a rental stall, you know, you want them clean and you want them sanitized. We use equine Biogenie for that, and that's an amazing product in itself that is very good at getting all those EV8. What is the
EPA? Is it EPA?
EVA. Yeah.
Anyway,
the whole, you know, it basically handles all those nasty diseases.
Yeah, all the biohazards.
Including the spirilla spores that can interfere with the horse's respiration. So we're we find that very important, and people love that because it's, you know, they know they're getting a clean, safe product.
Wonderful. And we love the round pens too, very portable, wonderful for our events and handy. I can't believe that time flew by so fast. So, but FEI Stabling, check them out for more information. Absolutely the best temporary stabling in the world, in my opinion. Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show. Thank you to the presenting sponsor of this portion of the Horse Talk Show, Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to our TV broadcast sponsor, Larson Farms, Idaho's finest alfalfa. Also, thank you to supporting sponsors, Nirvana Medical Spa, TT Distributors, Summit Joint Performance, Equigreen, Midnight Rose Equestrian, the Florida Horse Park, Horse Farms Forever, and the Equine Performance and Innovative Center. The Equine Performance and Innovative Center, situated on 30 pristine acres in the horse capital of the world, is one of the finest and most complete conditioning and rehab centers for equines and canines in the nation, including an equine hyperbaric chamber, aqua pacer, water treadmill, cold water leg spa, equine swimming pool, Eurosizer, and more. Epic equine veterinarians specializing in rehab and conditioning. For more information, go to epcrehab.com or find them on social media.
This show was brought to you in part by TT Distributors, dedicated to bringing their customers the largest selection of quality horse supplements, products, and farrier supplies in Florida at affordable prices. Also online at ttdistributors.com.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show. This segment's brought to you by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Our broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay,
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Dancing Pete Rodda, filling in for the great Louisa Barton, who's in England. And I'm here with Pat Myers from Pat Myers Electric. and he's filling in for me, I guess.
I guess so.
And we're on our last segment, and of course, we're going to do Dance and Pete's Tip of the Week. Dance and Pete's Tip of the Week, brought to you by Complementary Horsemanship. This tip is sponsored by Works LLC.com for your unwanted wild critters removal. So, Wildlife Works, we want to thank them for their sponsorship for this segment, since we had Wildlife Works with Corinne Walk and Stop. So, our tip of the week came from the connector of Ocala, Sarah Myers, your wife. We were at OBS and we were eating, and she said something about riding and her reins, and I said, well, you need to push instead of pull, and she looked at me like I had 3 heads. And so
yeah, I know that look.
You know that look.
Yes.
So we went through what I talk about with the reins. So I brought a pair of reins, and you can use them rope reins or leather reins, but I always talk about hold, push, triceps. So if you put your hands on this table, okay, most people want to pull up on the table and pull back on the table when they're riding. So under the table, pulling up on the table, or pushing up on the table and pulling back. What I always tell people is rest your finger, the middle finger, onto the table and push the table to have it steady. So you're engaging your tricep to hold. And so I had Sarah do that, where I go, no, not your bicep, your tricep. So think of pushing your shopping cart.
Okay.
When you're riding your horse. So you're holding the reins, not pulling the reins. And if you change your hold position, because some people will say, pick up or do something with your rein, then you're just bringing it back, but you're still pushing that energy forward and holding. So if you hold the reins, and I didn't have a pair of reins to give to Sarah, and Pat's like, I don't know what this is. Okay, so when you hold and let it rest on that rein so it goes to their mouth, most people want to pick up and pull at the same time. So just let it rest and push the reins so there's no tension. And then if I pull on you, you're holding, not pulling. So that makes a huge difference.
Okay.
So hold and use those triceps and think energy pushing. And sometimes I talk about water going through a hose to the bit, and then to the left or to the right with the water.
Okay.
That made it a little more clear, and then Sarah went, oh, that makes sense. I don't know if I can do it, but it made more sense. So as Louisa says,
she can do it.
If you have a horse, you probably have a dog. So the Horse Talk Show goes to the dog. So we have a tip of the week from Neil from Ocala Dog Ranch.
Let's take a look.
The Horse Talk Show goes to the dogs at Ocala Dog Ranch.
Neil Hennessy, the owner of Ocala Dog Ranch. Verbal communication with your dog. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. If you talk to your dog in an angry, gruff voice, the dog is not going to be happy to come to you or to do what you're asking. Be happy. Make a happy girly voice. Be happy. Call your dog. Dogs respond to happy, loud sounds, and you'll get more from your dog with a happy voice than a gruff voice.
Don't talk to me like that. So that's a good tip from Neil about how your tone can really make a difference. Yeah. So now it's Pat Myers' tip of the week.
Yeah.
And this one's live.
This one's live. That's great. So today I want to talk about being prepared. It's blazing hot out right now, and everyone is just trying to make sure that their horses are comfortable. So they're just running out, flipping the fans on, and getting the fans blowing in the stalls. Slow down a little bit and take the time to make sure your fans are in good operating order. They may work as soon as you flip that switch and they come on and you think, no big deal, it's good to go. That may lead to a couple days later or a week later that you find one burn up or you're tripping the breaker or something happening. That's when you need to be prepared. Take that time before you just jump into something to make sure it's right. And because we've had such hot weather,
means we're probably going to have a pretty interesting storm season. And pretty much every barn owner that I know would go without water before their horses went without water.
Oh, definitely.
So that means people are going to be getting out their generator. Now, before storm season hits, get the generator out, make sure it's working, make sure you know how to safely operate it. And if you don't know how to, ask. It's simple. Just ask somebody what to do next or how to be safe about operating.
And how often should you check your generator?
So I say bring it out every 2 or 3 months, fire it up, let it run for a little bit. And when you're letting it turn off, don't just walk up and turn it off. Close the carburetor and let the fuel run out so that you're not keeping fuel in the carburetor to get it gummed up. We want to make sure that when you go to use it in that emergency situation, so your horses have water, you're not scrambling to make sure that you're putting those pieces together in an emergency situation. So be prepared.
And I was going to say, I had a student that she has box fans.
Yeah.
And
you know how I feel about box fans.
Yeah, box fans is not your favorite.
It's not my favorite.
And why is that?
Because it's not a sealed motor fan.
Okay.
We're putting all kinds of dust and debris into that fan, and it blows right into our stall.
Okay, well, then she also had extension cords connecting them.
Danger.
What kind of dangers? Because I've got one to add for you.
So, all right, so we've got box fans, but we also have extension cords, and horses like to play. They're very curious animals. They're going to be biting and exploring things, and if you're biting on an extension cord, that's live parts. Your horse is just chewing on an extension. Would you pick up an extension cord and just start nibbling on it?
No, sir.
No, you wouldn't. So why would you let your horse do that?
Okay, I got another one for you now. You can add to it.
All right, let's go. I'm ready.
She tripped on the extension cord going into the stall from the box fan that she unplugged, but the cord was there and fell into the stall, and luckily he just stood there.
Well, thank goodness.
Yes.
That could have gone way worse.
Oh, yeah.
So we want to learn from mistakes. You can be a victim and be like, oh no, this happened, but really we want to see those mistakes and then learn and try and do things better.
So is there an alternative, like you go into the show, can you get a fan that is an internal motor fan?
Sure, yeah. The easiest thing to look for is it outdoor rated? Is that fan outdoor rated? Every single box fan is only meant for indoor use. If it says it's outdoor rated, then it's safe for the elements and water, and they make them that you can hang in the stall or sit on the ground, or they make them in all different configurations.
Good.
So there is an alternative.
There is an alternative.
There's always a better way.
There's a better way. Well, that's Pat Meyer's tip of the week, and I really appreciate that. I see things in barns I've never seen before from being around you, and I'm always going, ooh, Pat needs to come out for this. So I've seen The other thing before we get done is I heard you got a television appearance kind of feel when you went out to somebody's place.
I did. It was really great. I got a chance to go visit a customer, and I knocked on the door, and they opened the door, and they were like, are you Pat Myers? And I said, yes, I am. That's who I am. And she was like, oh my goodness. And she gave me a big hug, and she was like, oh, I heard you on the radio. I looked you up online, but I hear you on the radio. And we came in, and it was pretty great.
You made her week?
She made my week.
Oh, wow.
That was great. Yeah. So, yeah.
It's always nice when you go out and people recognize you from the show.
Yeah, that is really great experience.
Well, thanks again, Pat, for being my co-host.
Thanks for having me.
Fun experience. And if you're in Ocala, Marion County, horse capital of the world, or not, happy horsing all around. We'll see you next time when Louisa's back. See ya.